Hey guys, what's up? This is RezRootz here. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. This is Will, and for this episode in this podcast, we are going to be introducing our new team members here for the podcast. And so for now, I'm going to go pass it around, but let me introduce myself first, and then I'll pass it over to the next. So my name is Will. My tribe is Nez Perce, Spokane. If you want me to introduce all my other ones, it's Nez Perce, Spokane, Macaw, Coeur d'Alene, and Snohomish. There's a bunch of 5 different tribes that I have in my family. Then where I'm from is Lapwai, Idaho. Shout out to the Nez Perce Reservation. But, all right, I'm going to pass it over.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I think mostly everyone knows me already. It's been a while since I've been on here, actually. But yeah, I'm back. I'm still Navajo. Still, it hasn't changed. Still from Gallup. Yeah, next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Johanna. I'm from Inscription House, Arizona, and I'm Navajo.
Nice. Okay. Hi, my name is Karen Begay without an E. I'm not fancy like that. But I am a pureblood Navajo. I'm from Bread Springs, New Mexico. If you don't know where that is, it's south of Gallup, New Mexico. It's like really small, but yeah, it's small.
What's up, guys? Tim, half Navajo, half Billigana. That's white, for y'all that don't know. I was born in Winslow because it was free, but I grew up here in Flagstaff, so yeah, and that's it.
It's funny, I didn't realize it until now. It's like, where's Navajo roots? So Navajo roots here.
Yeah.
No, but that's cool. This just kind of blew my mind. We're just like, you guys are all Navajo.
Gotta represent.
So can't really.
This is not my choice.
Yeah. So let's just go around and share about how are you doing so far with school. Stressed out already? You want to quit? Any tea you had to spill? No, I'm just kidding.
Lazy. I'm just kidding.
No, but just, in general, how you doing? How you feeling?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. The classes are really thought-provoking this year. It's pretty fun. Yeah, I really like to think a lot, and a lot of my classes this year are mostly theology classes, so it's pretty nice. I'm enjoying it so far.
Nice. I'm doing actually really good. To be honest, I was in like a rut for the past 4 weeks spiritually, and I was just kind of dead. I think you could really tell in my classes, because I would just kind of sit there and zone out, and I would participate, but I wouldn't really. Not as much as I would. But yeah, like Wednesday, finally cried it out, and the Lord's like, good job. Now you know that I can comfort you when you choose to be alone. And it's like, okay, I guess God is real. And yeah, he really...
Dang.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And I am stressed out. I do have a lot of classes since I'm trying to graduate next year. And I accepted a lot of stuff because I want to be part of things. I like community. So like there's Hope Team. There's being an admissions counselor or receptionist. Then Fifth Wind. But I don't want to quit because I'm like, no, I like doing these things. So I'm here. I'm staying for good. I live here now.
So you're not planning on leaving next year then?
Like, how many credits are you taking?
I think it's 16. Hold on, I don't know.
That's crazy.
No way.
That's insane.
Let me check.
Karen's just built different, guys.
She's always on the go. Every like 5 seconds, she's signed out somewhere. She's like at work or she's doing homework, and I'm like, bro, chill out. And we're staying up to like staying up to midnight watching movies because she's like, finally get to rest, and we only watch one episode of a show, and then she's like, okay, I'm tired. Go to sleep and then wake up, do it all over again.
What kind of shows?
Probably best to consider.
We're good.
Just kidding.
We'll take that part out. No,
Goodness.
how about you, Tim? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm just kind of feeling the weight of this year, even though I'm only taking 12 credits. One of them was advanced discipleship, which I'm basically done with already. But the other 3 classes is a ton of reading and reports all the time, and got my family at home. Of course, all you guys know that I got a wife and 2 sons at home. But for everyone else that doesn't know, it's pretty difficult to be here, full-time student, with the family, because you got to balance a lot of time and what's needed. Say no to a lot of things and say yes to some important ones, and it is beneficial, but it's a lot of discipline and time management. But I'm not trying to sound all depressing. I'm just feeling the full weight of what it means to try to continue here. But yeah, everything's really good. I enjoy my classes too. It's just can't wait to take a breather. So
Nice.
Snaps.
no snaps.
I can't really snap, but I'll try.
I'll try.
Just
Bust out some lotion.
jazz hands. I'll do jazz hands instead.
I'm doing good. I'm just pretty, I don't know, kind of tired, kind of not. I'm just kind of going. I'm in my senior year, so I only have 1 class right now, actually. But I'm still really busy. Yeah, still really busy. I don't know how that's possible, but I'm still working at the LRC, the Learning Resource Center. Working off campus too, doing this, and some other stuff, but it's been pretty good, just being busy. I like being busy, but it's, I have a hard time saying no sometimes, and being okay with saying no. But yeah, I think, well, this past week was pretty rough. Grief in life. I think that was kind of one of the reasons I did take a step back from RezRootz for a bit. I lost my grandma probably 2 months ago now, about 2 months ago. So I was just kind of going through the motions and still processing, still hurting, but still going on, and yeah, so.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm thankful the stuff that you shared. I think a lot of you guys may have already alluded to it already, but I was gonna ask, any challenges you guys have been having so far, just within, was it 3 weeks now, 4 weeks? 3, I think it's 3.
It's gonna be 4. 4.
So yeah, 3 weeks.
All right, yeah. So it's just what challenges you guys are having right now, or that you feel like you want to share.
For me, it would be time management, because it's trying to fit in like a day where I can just do nothing, which is Sunday usually, but it doesn't always work that way. And yeah, so I think I'm really struggling with time management. Like I wake up at 7 and we get back in my room until like 10, So it's like, man, I need to figure out my schedule a bit better. Yeah, that's really it.
Samesies. Ditto.
No. I think just Fridays. Fridays are the biggest challenge because I've been on this whole new trying to get in better shape and go to the gym and stuff. And so I start at 6 a.m. Then I have class at 8:30, and then another class at 10. Then I have SF, which is spiritual formation, at 12. And whenever that's over, I kind of like use that time in between to prepare for the youth group that starts at 6:30, but usually got to drive there, so leave at 6 and then come back at 10, and then I have security at 10:30 and I'm over at 11. So Fridays are pretty terrible for time, and so I know that my family has to take a big hit for that. And then it's my oldest son's, he doesn't have school on Fridays too, so he's always like, "Hey Dad, what are we gonna do today?" And I'm like, "It's up to you and your mom." So can't kind of be included in that, which really does suck, but it's all for the better. I know God's using everything, so it's kind of just Fridays are my biggest challenge because it's just a lot of I almost said supply and demand, a lot of demand for me. So
I forget. It's like you guys took my spot now in security. No longer a security guard here at ABC.
Oh,
Tim
no.
took my spot. So,
Oh no.
yeah. So Tim is the authority over here.
Laying down the law.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Thank you for sharing that, Tim. Appreciate it. How about you, Hanna?
I feel like this year God is really testing me in community and the reconciliation of it too from what happened last year. And I kind of have been struggling with that. Other times it feels like it's okay. I can go through the day without feeling somehow, or just somehow. But there are other times where I just feel really in the slumps about it. And it's not like, oh, this person is going to do that to me again. It's more like, I haven't reconciled with this person yet, and it kind of bothers me. And so this year, that's where I am. And then another part is that I feel like I've done a lot with the freshmen lately, which isn't a bad thing. Just making them feel welcome, taking them to Walmart or Safeway if they needed to. But I feel like there are times where I don't give myself that rest, because there was a couple days in a row last week where I was just gone all day and I didn't get any homework done. So I feel like I'm overcompensating to be like, oh, I don't want a repeat of last year. So I'm going to work extra hard, but I'm not getting the correct rest that I needed.
That's deep. Appreciate that, though. Really. Thanks for sharing that, Hanna. You anything, Kelly?
We're like passing the mic around because me and Will have to share one, so it's funny. Well, I kind of mentioned it. Losing my grandma. It was really big. Really big event. I don't know how to put it. And I feel like I'm always bringing it up, but I feel bad for always bringing it up, but I'm like, no, I don't have to feel bad, because it's how I'm feeling, and it hurts, and that's okay. But it does get tiring, honestly. I've gone through grief, I've lost people, but it always just I don't know, I was talking about this the other day, but like, it always amazes me. I guess I shouldn't say amaze, but it always keeps me in awe, you know, when you lose someone so like big in your life, that time just keeps going on and the world just keeps going on. Like, I feel like I'm playing catch up, honestly. And I don't know, that just, it always hits me, but I think in this season that I'm in, it's been really hard, and the Lord has really been challenging me to give over control to Him, control in every aspect of my life, and I mean every aspect, and I hate it so much. I'm being honest, it sucks big time, because I'm like giving over what I've held on for so long. What did that be, like emotionally, physically, whatever, like spiritually, I mean. And the Lord has just been showing me, like, do you see what this has been doing to you? Like, what you've, this hasn't really gotten you anywhere, because you've been doing it yourself. So give it to me. But, like, no, there's no buts. Just do it. I'm like, okay. So I've really been wrestling with that. And just taking on that humility of that. And, yeah, so I'm learning, I'm growing, and I am where I'm at, even though it's probably not where I want to be. But I know it's where the Lord wants me to be, which is here at IBC. And I think that's been a really big challenge for me. Just keeping on, honestly. Yeah, that's me.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Kelly. I would say, like, yeah, I am in that same boat as you. Because the challenge I'm having right now is still transitioning over as a staff, no longer being a student. It really was rough on me. Like, I had a hard time. You know, I was like an introvert. I love being by myself. Like, praise God, yes, amen. But then I moved over, you know, miles away. No, I'm just kidding. I moved across the street. But for some reason, that still feels so far away. And most times I'd say I felt really lonely, like, oh man, I need someone to talk to, or you know, I miss being in a dorm where it's so loud and noisy. You know, it's like someone playing games or music or whatever it may be, or going to the kitchen. There's the guys' dorm is the island in the kitchen, and sometimes we just all have food and we just connect over that island. So those kind of things, like, I just like have fun with. But I think it is. I guess it's like a good segue of my little diva I had for you guys that I wanted to share with you guys here, and also whoever's listening on the podcast. But last Tuesday was probably the worst day I ever had here in a long time. Tuesdays are usually my days off where and it's not in like a mean or a push away type thing. It's just more of like I need to set boundaries from everybody just to get some time alone with myself, but not just with myself, but time with the Lord. But this past Tuesday morning, it just hit me really hard, where I started thinking like I'm out of place. I don't really belong here anymore. My time is done here. So I like started believing in the lie of like, yeah, you no longer should be here. Because you're not a student. You're not important as the students are. And started going down the route of my SF group. You know, I have 4 guys that I'm mentoring. My first SF group meeting, I feel like it didn't go well. It was really hard on me. I really just tore myself up after my first SF meeting because for me, that was too much for me to handle at the time because I was just like, bro, I was like, these are too much people. Dynamics are so different, you know. I'm like, I don't know how to connect with all you guys at once. It's so hard. And I started that Tuesday, started thinking about that. Like, again, another lie. I was like, yeah, you're not even good enough for these 4 guys. And then, along with student life, you know, my coworkers are Kareen and Josh Manning and Tina. And started to really belittle myself in that area as well. Like you don't belong to be on their side. You can't work alongside them because you can't keep up. You're not at their level. And like all these lies were just hitting me so hard. And I was like, man. And then like I just happened to scroll by, and it was one of my siblings. As you guys know my story really well, my siblings and I do not get along at all. So you can see we're just going more deeper and darker here. So I started like getting angry, not at them, but I started getting angry with myself. And one of the biggest things that I know, like a few years ago, you would not hear me say it at all because I would be too ashamed to share it with everybody. But the feeling that I always struggle with is feeling like an abandoned father, a deadbeat dad. I struggled with that so much. Like I felt like I was a deadbeat dad to my son. But I've been getting those reminders from my son's grandma. This was her words. It was recently, I think it was right before the student body leaders retreat. I got to talk to her and my son. And she was saying, I don't see a father who is running. I just see a father who's trying. And, you know, I got all emotional. I started crying. It's like someone was cutting onions, you know. I don't know what it was. I never cried that hard in my life. I was like, oh my God, like, I need to stop beating myself up. I gotta give myself grace. And so those lies were hitting me again on Tuesday. And then there was actually another, to top it off, thing. Last week was my very first week ever running my own shifts at Little Caesars. So I was trying to prepare for that, but I wasn't prepared at the same time. And that was that Tuesday is when my first time ever running my own shift. And not to throw shade or anything, but there was a coworker that I thought I was going to work with. She is kind of a little hard on people. She would try to be bossy and boss people around when she's only been working there for like 3 weeks. And I'm like, that's not going to sit well with me. It's like, don't try me. It's like, I swear. No, but there's all these things are just piling up. I was like, man, it's supposed to be a day of rest. It's like, here I'm trying to fight these battles that are not even mine. That literally I should not be even thinking about these things because that's not who I am. That's not where I am. God has me here. Why do I keep going over there? So I finally sat myself down and I just started praying, really just thinking it out and just praying each thought that I had. And God led me to 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 3 through 5. And it says, For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that set itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. And that's when I realized, I've always said the saying that you gotta take your thoughts captive, but Tuesday I allowed my thoughts put me in captive. And that's where where God was telling me, like, you were believing into the lies. Allow me to share what I see and what I see in you. Child of God, masterpiece. Reminding myself that whoever I was in the past with my siblings or anything, my family, getting their approval from them, I no longer need that because I have the approval of the God who spoke the world into existence. God blessed me with siblings here. God blessed me with, parents. Like, I look at Manning as a father figure, Kareen as my mother figure. Like, God blessed me with a lot of people around me. So God reminded me, like, this is where I want you to be. This is where I have you. So don't take your thoughts captive before they put you in captive. So I was just like, start crying again, and then I went to work. But, then that's something I wanted to do over the weekend too. But I really didn't. Kind of, like I said, I told you guys before, I kind of put myself out there a little too much. But you cannot rest while being stressed. You can't rest with all these thoughts in your head. You have to put them in captive. You have to let go. You have to sit and relax because, we are commanded to be still. It's something that I've been, intimacy with God, actually sitting and being still in silence so that I can hear the voice of the Lord, allowing him to speak and just listen to him. And when we do that and let things go, we are allowed to, or we can have that peaceful rest. And to close it off, I was going to do Matthew 11:28 through 30. And it says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So, take your thoughts captive, let go, and just rest on him. Just sit with him. Because that's what, I always think of that too, the armor of God, the helmet of salvation, protect your mind, the breastplate of righteousness, protect your heart. Because those things are really crucial. And your thoughts can become to action, So, I don't know if that all made sense, but that's something that God has put on my heart, and he actually, had to walk through and experience, and I'm pretty sure you guys have as well. But wanted to leave the table open if you guys had any response or comments, blasphemy, or whatever's on your heart, you could share.
Man, thanks, Will. For me, being in my head is really easy to do. So I try to drown out whatever's in my head by everything around me. So I try to keep myself out of it by making things more chaotic around me. Not in like a bad way, but like making sure I don't have time to be in my head, which is like not a bad thing, but also a bad thing at the same time. Because when you said earlier, we're not spending time with God to actually hear what he has to say in that silence. So that's where it's bad for me. It's good in a way where I'm not letting myself believe the lies that I tell myself, if that makes sense. So it's a good reminder.
I'd have to say that that's something like I gotta do every day, because I mean, you guys know like my background a little bit, you know, barely getting sober just 3.5 years ago, coming up on 5 years, quit drinking this month, so that's a pretty big accomplishment. I felt like I did that alone, but that was because I was looking at a lot of jail time, so it was kind of didn't have a choice. But like becoming sober, like that was totally all on God. Like, so like my thoughts are always a hindrance, you know. And I do pray that a lot, to take my thoughts captive and make them obedient to God and His will. So it's definitely a challenge for me, because that's where the temptation starts too. You know, starts in the head, and then the actions take place. So I actually hold on to 1 Corinthians chapter 10:13 all the time. There's no temptation that is uncommon, you know, like, and there's always a way out. So, I mean, that's massive paraphrase. So, but yeah, I think that is a reminder that, I mean, me personally, I need it every day. So then I'm not as mean to my children too. And I actually unconditionally love my wife after that. So that's not easy to say right there, but it is a reality. It is true. And so yeah, thanks, man. That was really good.
Thank you.
I really liked what you said about you can't. What did you say? You can't rest without being stressed. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I really did feel that yesterday. I don't know if I mentioned this before we started. Well, after we started, when I went home, when I started driving out, it's like a 2.5 hour drive from Flagstaff to like my home, like where I live. So the whole time I was feeling very stressed until I got to like, what is it called? Holbrook. And I thought, you know what? I should be listening to like the Bible or something. So I wasn't sure what to listen to. And in crisis counseling, we were talking about Nehemiah being like the ultimate chaplain. I thought, well, that's really cool. I've never read it. So I did like, I watched like a video. Well, I didn't watch it. I was driving. I was listening. I was listening to like a thing about the background of Nehemiah. And then I started listening to the whole like book of Nehemiah, and it is good to a certain point. I'm like, why? What are all these names? Who are these people? But before it got to that point, it was really cool because it was kind of showing me what God wanted to say to me, like what you said, to be still. And in that hour, I was finally just kind of there. I was paying attention to the road, but I was just kind of zoning out too. So, but God showed me that, wow, this guy is faithful to his people. And I think that's really hard to do for me sometimes. Not just like my own family, but like to natives as a whole. Because I'm going to be real honest, sometimes I don't feel any sympathy for natives because I'm like, y'all are just doing this to yourselves. But Nehemiah didn't say that to his people. He wept for his people, and it was really convicting. It was so dumb. Well, it wasn't dumb. It was just good, and I didn't want that answer. But that's the answer I got. So, working through that, and it was just really nice. So, I like that.
I think for me, so I've been going through, like, First Peter. And before, might have been a couple months ago, 1 Peter 5:8 was really one that stuck out to me and something that I knew I had to hold on to while walking through this season. 1 Peter 5:8 is, I'm not gonna look it up, but it's like, beware your adversary, the devil, walks around like a roaring lion, looking for those to devour. And it's so true. Like, we have that choice to put our armor on as believers and to really filter our minds, I guess, in a way to say it. And I think for me, I can spiral, and I can spiral fast. And it's not good. So the past couple of years have just been me really learning how to instill God's word instead of the lies that I've believed my whole life, really. Unlearning that is really hard, but it's doable because it's not in your strength, it's in God's. And yeah, I think that was just really good, Will. I appreciate that. I think it's an important reminder that we all have a choice to do it or not, or to stay down and get kicked by the devil, or to get back up, and that's really important.
Well, thanks, Kelly. Appreciate you. Yeah, so that's something I just wanted, God to really put on my heart just to share with you guys. And really thankful that the Lord, revealed a lot of that to me, because better learning it and not knowing it at all. Like, I could have still indulged in my thoughts or believe in those lies. I think one thing I forgot to mention too is that we think over 12,000 thoughts a day or something like that, or even more than that. And it's really crazy to think about. That's something I forgot to mention, but protecting your mind is really crucial. So that's probably the biggest thing of all. The end of this podcast is protect your mind. So, Karen, would you like to close in prayer?
Yeah, I can. I can totally pray.
All right.
Okay. God, first, I just thank you so much for this time and just for what you're doing on this podcast, Lord. To be honest, I'm kind of nervous because I'm like, wow, I don't know how many people are going to be listening to this prayer. But if you are, you're welcome. God, I just thank you for who you are, and that even when we are not faithful, you are still faithful to us, and you are always welcoming us back into your arms without a second thought or without hesitation. Whoever listens to this, I pray that you bless them, and I pray that they have a good day. Remind them of who you created them to be, and remind them that they do have a choice of whether to put on the armor and to use what you have given them, your word and prayer, and just their community. So, Lord, and if they don't have a community, I pray that you provide that for them, because I know that you want that for us. Just help us to have a good time, help them to have a good time, and help us to be a family coded by Vin Diesel. And amen.
Bye-bye.